A lot of uproar over the weekend, especially yesterday. Rugby League wasn't on the Sports Personality of the Year, despite the fact that our domestic TV partner has the rights to the game. Is that an outrage, or is that just what we expect from the BBC?
No, why would it be an outrage? There were a lot of sports that didn't get very much coverage. We have an overestimation of our importance. The flavour for most of the programme was international, which shows how important that is. The Catalan Dragons got a little cameo piece because they added an international dimension to the Challenge Cup, but we got no more or less than domestic football, domestic rugby union, a lot more than speedway and darts. we got what we deserve. We have to acknowledge the fact that we are a big minority sport. I genuinely don't see why people think half of the programme should be devoted to rugby.
Half, maybe 2.5 minutes would have been fair.
But it wasn't the most of the programme was around the 6 people who were nominated to be the designated personalities. One of them wasn't a rugby league player this time. We got no more.
This time, we would have had one.
All right, one. Well, this time, we've got no more, no less than virtually every other sport.
What do you make of it, John?
Well, I didn't watch it for starters, but I did see the outrage, and I saw a lot of boxing outrage about Tyson Fury not getting it as well. So I think the common theme is you don't win anything, moan. Well, I think it's a bit of a nonsense, really.
What is the equivalent?
No.
And you love sport.
Well, yeah.
Well, they used to when they were good. We're not so bothered about it now. There's a program on about out of sandpaper or corking.
Not you.
I think Mark Atherton gives that class pretty well.
But I don't know. Not that muck in his pocket.
But I don't get the personality.
It's
a word, personality, is it?
Yeah.
Again, it's invested.
I don't think Garrett Jones is,
But it's invested with too much status. It's the BBC's take on a year of sport. That's all it is.
I put a Twitter poll on earlier and just said, look, is it time to get rid of it? And there's been quite a lot of votes on it. 74% have been it's had its day.
Yeah, that's possible. In the same way that Question of Sport has probably had its day.
Yeah, well, I think it's harmless.
And what they tried to do this year was make it a little bit more immediate. You know, you don't know who the people you're going to be voting for until the programme starts. There was the biggest outrage was there was 15 minutes on the England football team not winning the World Cup.
Well, it was the same with that programme last week that I mentioned last week when they had the Sporting Review of the Year, which this used to be, and then they turned it into a celebrity fest because the headline picture on the BBC website for most of the afternoon was Paloma Faith, who, as far as I'm aware, didn't win the Commonwealth Games.
She did open the proceedings with a song, though.
Yeah, not one of her own, though.
It was a tribute to Aretha.
Was it a tribute to the likes of John Terry, anyway, and Tyson Fury, and Zach Hardacre. We've got a wrong.
You've set him off now. He's only been back 8 minutes.
Isn't the problem though? The week before, that programme presented by Dame Jessica Ennis-Hill, and why the BBC chose her to present it, I don't know, when they're paying Lineker £2 million to literally do 1 day a week's work. There was no rugby league on that at all. That was the review of the year, in which most of that was not spent about 15 minutes talking about England being rubbish, but most of that was spent interviewing someone who won nothing at the Winter Olympics because they've got chairs in her or something. We got nothing in a year in which the Catalan Dragons made history. More time was spent, no time was spent talking about rugby league, not domestic rugby union in fairness, but they spent time on the Super Bowl, which I can't remember was particularly, well, it's in January.
But again, it's that international dimension, isn't it?
On a domestic BBC programme.
I just think we invest too much.
We do.
You either watch it or don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
If you're going to get upset about it, don't
But
watch
my
it.
point is they are our domestic television partners, and we have no, even if it's 2 minutes, it's a lack of respect. And this is what's going on about the BBC. Why are people so...
But it was more than horse racing. It was more than... there was no golf other than the Ryder Cup, which again was an international dimension to it.